welcome back. As you can tell from the title, I am doing another makeup declutter. It's been quite a few months since the last one, and I just really love filming them. They're fun. So this is part one, and it will be face products. So you've got, that would be primers, foundation, concealer, and powders. So oh, and setting sprays. So if you want to see what I declutter, just keep watching. Alright, here are all my primers. This is the NYX primer spray. Excuse me. And I actually haven't been using this much. So I'm gonna keep this because I can't remember how I feel about it and if it is effective. So for now I'm keeping that. And then just at first glance, this is my favorite primer at the moment. This is the Laura Geller Spackle Hydrating. And it feels kind of like you're putting a lotion on, and it reminds me of the hydrating Laura Mercier primer, which I love. So this I highly recommend. Of course, it's on the more expensive side, but I haven't found a drugstore hydrating primer that I've fallen in love with quite yet. So this is definitely staying. Speaking of Laura Mercier, this is the Radiance Primer, which is my favorite Laura Mercier primer. So of course I'm keeping this. But what is similar at the drugstore is the L'Oreal Visible Lift Radiance Booster. It does pretty much the same thing. I like the Laura Mercier slightly better, and this is a little more pink tone. I'll put them side by side for you. And I like to wear these obviously under. Sometimes some people will try using it as a highlight. I don't think these are necessarily great for that. So this is a Laura Mercier. So it's a little more like neutral, I would say, whereas this is the L'Oreal and it's a little more pink. But they give a very similar effect. I don't think either of them prolong the wear of my foundation, but my foundation looks beautiful on top, and I think it helps it apply better. So this I'm keeping. But if you were eyeing this or you love this and you just want an alternative, I do recommend this one. Next I have the NYX Angel Veil primer. I liked this at first, but like it breaks up. Like I literally shake it up and then I still have all this liquid come out, and so I will like gently squeeze it into the sink and get all the liquid out and then use it. So it's just really frustrating. However, it's my only like blurring primer that I have, and apart from that one complaint, I really do like it. So I'm going to keep it, but once this is done, I think I'm going to try to find an alternative. This is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, similar to the Laura Mercier, and I like the Laura Mercier better. This is just like a travel deluxe size, so this I'm going to pass along. And then my two eyeshadow primers. I don't use eyeshadow primer much. I prefer to just put my concealer up there. But when I do, especially if I'm doing something a little more dramatic, I do like to use a primer. And this is the Milani, and this is I would say a cult classic here on YouTube, and it's definitely for good reason. So I like that. I'm keeping that. And then I also like the NYX Proof It. It's supposed to be a waterproof primer. It's like a doe foot. It's very liquidy. I like it. I think it works. I have not tested the waterproof factor. I haven't like cried in it or submerged my face, but as just an everyday eyelid primer, I do like that. So I only got rid of one primer, but we're just at the beginning, and I do intend to be somewhat ruthless, but I don't think, compared to a lot, I don't think I have a large primer collection to begin with. But next we're going to go into concealers. Alright, here are all of my concealers. This got lost in the concealer because it looks like a concealer. This is the e.l.f. eyelid primer, and I don't know if I've even ever used this one. yeah, I'm just going to pass this along. I like the other two I have better. So this I'm going to get rid of. So I got rid of 2 primers. But anyway, here are my concealers. This is the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage. This is a great product, but mine's really old and dried out. So I'm just going to toss it because it's like you're barely getting anything. And I like, see? So it's just old and needs to be trashed. So that I'm getting rid of. This is the Benefit Erase Paste, and mine is in Fair. This is like a correcting concealer for like dark circles, and I do really like this. I have another one I use because it's a little more lightweight, but I feel like this is a little more effective. So if I'm wearing more makeup, I tend to go for this. If I want to be a little more natural, I'll go for the other one. But I'm definitely keeping this. And the other one I'm speaking of is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and this is the brightening one, so it's like the pinky shade, and like I said, it does pretty much the same thing. I just think as the Benefit, I just think the Benefit is a little more powerful, but it could look a little heavy, and so when I don't want that, I go for this, but definitely keeping that. Then this is my favorite brightening concealer at the moment, the Tarte Shape Tape, and I have it in Fair Beige, so I'm definitely keeping that. And I have actually I've had this for a while. It's the Maybelline Fit Me, and mine is in 15 Fair. And I've had this for a while, and I was like, it's so-so. It's not bad, but it's not like amazing. But I've been using it recently for more like spot concealing, and I've just fallen in love with it. So I'm definitely going to keep that. This was my old favorite, the Naked Skin, Urban Decay Naked Skin. Mine's Fair Neutral. I'm going to keep that and use it up, but I think I do prefer the Tarte instead. This is the NYX Gotcha Covered. So this is a high coverage concealer, and it can tend to look a little heavy if you use too much, and I just don't tend to gravitate towards it. I can show you how thick it is. You can see that, and let's, like, that's a good bit that I put on, and see, it's great coverage. I don't know how I feel. I think I'm going to probably get rid of this one because I just never seem to use it, and I just don't want it to go bad. Someone else can use it. This is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD, and mine is in R20. This one I like, but it's been sitting in my makeup collection. It like hasn't been in my main, I guess, everyday makeup drawer, and so it's just kind of gotten forgotten. It has been forgotten, but I really like it. I say this is very similar to the Urban Decay Naked Skin, so I'm going to use it up, but again, I think I prefer the Tarte over those two. Alright, last I have 2 of the NYX HD concealers. This one is in 1 Porcelain, and then this is a correcting concealer in CW10 Yellow. And I just learned I don't need a yellow correcting concealer on my skin, so it just doesn't work for me, so I'm going to get rid of that. This one is nice. I haven't used it in a very long time, and I think it dried out a bit because it never used to be that thick. So I think this is just really old. So I'm going to throw that one away. It just needs to go in the trash. So I got rid of 4 concealers, which I think is a good job. But next we're going to do foundation. Alright, I got a good bit of foundation, and then here's another concealer. This is NYX, and it's the green one. It's correcting, but I'm just not a fan of this consistency. It's a little too dry for me, so I'm going to get rid of this. So I actually got rid of 5 concealers. Hopefully I can get my ish together and get it all in one turn this time instead of coming back. But anyway, off the bat, I can tell you I'm getting rid of these 2, but not for the formula. Last summer I decided I wanted to try self-tanning, so I got these 2 just for darker shades, but I'm just kind of over the self-tanning thing, and I've never, in my adolescence, I was not a fan of being so pale. But as an adult, I've appreciated it. And I just went through a little phase last year, but I'm kind of over it. So I'm going to get rid of these two just because they're too dark, but they're great formulas. So I do recommend the foundation. I just can't use these. This I got a long time, well, not a long time ago, but a couple months ago in an Ipsy bag. And this is the Sensitive Plus Daily Safe BB cream with SPF 30. It says Dr. G, My Skin Mentor. There's a lot of word. I think Dr. G is the brand. But I actually just tried this recently because I'm not big on BB creams or like tinted moisturizers because I don't need full coverage, but I guess I'm in the middle. I want medium coverage. But I kind of just put this on, a tiny bit of concealer, and that was it. And I actually really liked how this looked. I don't know if I will buy the full size, but I'll definitely use up this. And then my favorite high-end concealer right now is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. I have the shade Fair and Neutral. I just love this stuff, and it is on the more full coverage side, but I am like a little under halfway done with this. So I love trying out different foundations. This is definitely on the list of something I would repurchase, but there are others I want to try as well. Then my current favorite I've been using recently, and this is drugstore, is the e.l.f. What is it called? Acne Fighting Foundation. The name's not on here, but I think it's something like that. And I have the shade Porcelain. It's actually probably a shade or two a little too dark for me, but I wear it anyway. I try to bronze my neck a lot. But I just love the finish. It's matte without being drying, and I do have dry skin. And it just feels comfortable, and it doesn't feel like I have a lot on my face. So this I'm definitely keeping, and I can always use a lighter foundation to lighten it if I want. Another favorite is the Makeup Forever HD Ultra HD stick, and I have mine in R2, well, it's 115 or R230. I forgot which one is the new conversion, but I used this like almost exclusively when I first got it, and I only have that much left. So I'm definitely going to use it up. I really like it. Eventually I'll probably repurchase it, but like I said, I like trying new foundations. This is the first time I looked to see how much I have left. I didn't realize it was so little. But this is a great product. Great coverage. I think my only complaint is if you do, this is my issue, like it does transfer. So like I like to do my foundation first and then do the rest of like my eye stuff and my brows. So when I do my brows, sometimes I'll scrape off some of the foundation, but that's honestly my only complaint with this. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter foundation, and I have it in the shade 1. And the issue is it oxidizes. So when I was testing it in the store, I had 0.5 and 1, and 0.5 just seemed too white. So I bought this, and not only after using it a couple times I realized it was way too dark because it oxidized. And then I just realized I'm not a big fan of the formula. I do like full coverage sometimes, but this tends to look a little too much for me. And I would say I have, there's about 75% left of this. So I think this is going to be one of the items I'm going to put on either Mercari or Poshmark to sell, because there's plenty to use and someone will love this. But this, yes, I'm going to pass along. Then I have the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum, the gel foundation. Mine is in, oh here it is, 51 Light Vanilla. This is probably a shade too dark, but I make it work because it's such a great foundation, especially when your skin is kind of just really dehydrated. I feel like it helps bring back moisture into it. It's a beautiful kind of satiny dewy finish, and I just really like it. Of course, this isn't available in the US. I ordered mine on Amazon, but I'm definitely keeping this, and I need to start using it again because I've been using others recently. But that is staying. This, I like this, but I got the wrong shade. This is a nude ivory. I just recently bought rose ivory or something. I don't remember, but I bought a lighter shade. So this I'm going to see if my sister wants, because she's a little darker than me, and then I have the correct shade. So I'm technically keeping the product, just not this shade. Then I have the Manic Panic Dream Tone foundation, and I know I probably shouldn't, but I store my foundations laying down. So I've used about that much of it. I just don't find myself using it that much, but then there are foundations I have that I could be using this with. So for now, I'm gonna keep it. It's a good product. I think it's more my laziness, like, oh, I don't want to have to mix foundations. But like, for instance, if I put a little bit with this, it'd be the perfect shade. So I think I'm gonna keep it. Then I have two cushion foundations. So this, and they're both drugstore. This is L'Oreal, this is Maybelline. This one came out over a year ago, and I loved it, but it was way too dark for me. So I got it anyway, knowing that, but the lightest shade was, what, W2? Like, they didn't even have a 1. And the regular True Match line does, so that didn't make sense to me. But this I'm not keeping, and I think it's probably since been dried out because I got it like a year ago. So this I'm just gonna toss. If there's a shade for you, I recommend it because I love the finish of it. And then this is the Maybelline Dream Cushion. This I got in the lightest shade, which is Tin Porcelain. Maybelline still tends to be a little too dark. It's probably like a shade too dark, but I can make it work because I really like it, especially if I want something really lightweight. So that I'm gonna keep. All right, so I got rid of 5 foundations, and I only kept 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think that's a pretty good job. So last for this round will be powders. All right, here are my powders. These two are technically foundation powders, which I really like. This I use to set, because it's just a really comfortable formula and not drying by any means. So that I'm keeping. I'm also keeping the IT Cosmetics Celebration Foundation Illumination in Fair, because it's literally the only powder foundation that I can wear on its own and it not feel cakey or drying or anything. And I really like this. Sometimes I wear it over another foundation, but this you definitely can wear even with dry skin on its own. So this this I think is marketed as a powder foundation. It just says pressed powder. I don't know, but honestly, so many of the shades, and it goes along with that, like, it's from this line from Wet n Wild. Like, it's so hard to tell the shade even though it has like the open window. And I picked neutral beige, and I actually really like this powder as a setting powder. I wouldn't wear it on its own, but it's very nice. It sort of reminds me of the Maybelline Better Skin, and I feel like it's more translucent, because I don't think this is the lightest shade, but it's not too dark for me, especially if I'm just using like a large stippling brush to set everything. So this I really like. I'm just confused about the colors, because if this was more pigmented or higher coverage, this would probably be too dark for me, but it works. So I'm keeping that. This is on the newer side. Probably I've been using this for a month. This is the NYX HD Finishing Powder in Banana, and I've been very deterred from the yellow powders, but this is like just faintly yellow, that it actually works and does brighten the under eye. And it's just such a buttery, when people describe powder as buttery, this is that. It's very smooth and does a great job of setting the under eye. So I'm definitely keeping that. That's been a new favorite. Then these are 2 under eye setting powders. This one's from e.l.f. and I think I've only used it like once. It's alright, and I like the banana powder better, so this I'm going to get rid of. And then this is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, which I was obsessed with, but I've actually been liking, obviously, that banana powder and using the translucent instead, so I'm going to finish this up. But then I'm probably not going to repurchase it. It's a great product, but sometimes, especially when you take pictures, you get that bounce back and your under eyes just look too white. And then I have the Laura Mercier Translucent Powder, which I love, everyone loves, for good reason. It's a great powder. Mostly I use it to set my under eyes. Sometimes, because even though I have dry skin, product on my nose doesn't want to stay in place, so sometimes I set my nose, and that does a good job. So I'm keeping that. And then this is the the NYC Smooth Skin Loose Face Powder in Translucent. And I've had a video before with dupes, and I think this is a very close dupe to the Laura Mercier, but obviously I think this lasts a little bit longer. But if you're on a budget, this is a good alternative, but I just never find myself reaching for it. And I have a bunch of other powders, so this I'm going to pass along. So I only got rid of 3 powders, and I kept 5. I don't know. Good job to me. I think in the other parts of this series, I'm going to be a little more ruthless because there are more things I don't use. Oh, I forgot my setting sprays. So I have 3. I have the MAC's Fix Plus, the Maybelline Master Fix, and then a little deluxe sample of the Urban Decay All Nighter. This I'm almost done with. I like, but I'm not going to buy the full size. I think that's too expensive, and that the drugstore has just as good of options. So that I'm going to use up, but I'm not going to repurchase. I love the MAC Fix Plus for like when I'm using like full eyeshadows, or if my face is looking a little cakey, so I'm keeping that. And then the Master Fix from Maybelline is alright. I don't think it's anything special, but I'm almost done with it. So I'm not going to repurchase it, but I'm going to use it up. So I didn't get rid of any, but I only had 3 to begin with. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you aren't already. And I hope you come back for part 2. Bye guys.